Oh, so they finally saw it. That one picture. That single photograph that shattered every assumption they'd built about you for years. The image that made their blood run cold, because in that moment, in that frozen frame, they realized something absolutely terrifying. You've been acting this whole time. Every smile, every word, every carefully measured response. It was all performance. And the person staring back from that photo, that stranger with your face, that's the real you, the one they never knew, the one they never saw coming. And now they can't unsee it. Welcome to the unmasking. If you're serious about building the life that matches this mindset, the Grim Grit Life Complete Planners Bundle was made exactly for you. 6 premium guides, 82 pages, fully interactive on any device. Sleep, training, meals, recipes, travel, and wedding, all in one single download. This is not just a planner. This is the infrastructure for the person you are becoming. Grab the bundle now and save over 50% compared to buying separately. Link is in the description. Let's rewind for a second because this story doesn't start with that photo. It starts with the version of you they thought they knew. The character you played so convincingly that even you almost forgot it was a role. They saw someone soft, someone safe, someone predictable, someone who laughed at the right moments, nodded at the right times, stayed quiet when they needed you quiet. You were their supporting actor, their background character, their convenient narrative. They wrote your lines, and you delivered them flawlessly, or so they thought. But here's what they missed. While they were busy congratulating themselves for having you figured out, you were studying them, learning them, becoming fluent in their language while never once revealing your own. For months, maybe years, you wore that mask like a second skin, not because you were fake, but because you were smart. You understood something most people never grasp. The world doesn't reward authenticity, it punishes it. So, you gave them a version they could digest, a personality they could categorize, a story they could understand. You became exactly what they expected, while your true self watched from somewhere deep inside, taking notes, counting days, waiting, and they ate it up. Every manufactured laugh, every diplomatic response, every time you bit your tongue and smiled instead of screamed. They thought they had you mapped, decoded, controlled. They thought the person they saw was the person you were. But then came that photo. Maybe it was candid, maybe it was intentional, maybe it was just the universe deciding it was time. But something in that image captured what 1,000 conversations never could. The look in your eyes, the set of your jaw, the energy radiating from your posture. It wasn't the you they knew, it was someone else entirely, someone harder, someone colder, someone who looked like they'd survived things the character they knew could never endure. And in that split second of recognition, their entire understanding of reality cracked wide open. Because that photo didn't just show a different side of you. It showed that everything they thought they knew was carefully constructed theater. The panic probably set in fast, didn't it? You could almost see the gears turning in their heads as they stared at that image. Wait, if this is real, then what was everything else? If this person exists, who have I been talking to all this time? The questions started multiplying like a virus because once you realize someone's been performing, you have to go back and re-examine every single interaction through that lens. Every moment of vulnerability, was it real or calculated? Every piece of advice, was it genuine or manipulation? Every friendship, every laugh, every shared secret, suddenly everything's contaminated with doubt. And that doubt? That's the poison that never leaves. That's the gift that keeps giving. Here's what that photo revealed that's keeping them up at night. You're not who you said you were, but more terrifyingly, you're not who they needed you to be. Because the character you played, that version served a purpose in their lives. That person was manageable, predictable, safe. But this raw, unfiltered entity staring back from that image, this is chaos. This is power. This is someone who clearly doesn't need their validation, their approval, their presence. This is someone who's been 3 steps ahead this entire time while they thought they were leading the dance. And the scariest part? If you could hide this, what else are you hiding? The beautiful thing about masks is they're not just about concealment, they're about control. And you brilliant, calculated soul, you understood that from day one. You knew that people are most comfortable when they think they understand you, when they believe they've got you categorized in their neat little boxes. So you let them. You handed them puzzle pieces that fit their narrative, pieces that made sense in their limited worldview. You became the story they wanted to tell about you, while your true story was being written in invisible ink. Every time they thought they'd figured you out, you were actually showing them exactly what you wanted them to see. And the control that gave you? Immeasurable. Because while they were busy congratulating themselves for knowing you, you were operating in complete freedom. You could observe without being observed, study without being studied, plan without interference. You were the wolf in sheep's clothing, except you were never planning to attack. You were just surviving in a world that eats the authentic alive. You were playing chess while they thought you were playing checkers. And that photo? That photo was your hand slipping for just one moment, revealing that you've been holding all the cards this whole time. Now let's talk about what happens in their heads after that revelation. First comes denial. No, that's just a bad photo. The lighting's weird. They're reading too much into it. But denial doesn't last because that image keeps calling them back. They zoom in, looking for proof that they're wrong, but every detail confirms their worst fears. The way you're standing, the expression you couldn't quite control, the energy that's so drastically different from the person they thought you were. Denial crumbles into confusion. How did I miss this? How long has this been happening? And confusion breeds obsession. They start going back through everything. Old photos, old messages, old conversations, looking for clues they missed the first time. And they find them. Little inconsistencies they brushed off. Moments where your mask slipped just slightly, but they were too distracted to notice. Times when your eyes said something completely different from your mouth. It's all there in hindsight, screaming at them, and they can't believe they were so blind. But here's the thing about hindsight. It's cruel. It doesn't just show you what you missed. It shows you that you chose to miss it. That on some level, you preferred the comfortable lie to the uncomfortable truth. So now they're stuck in this mental prison of their own making. Every memory is tainted. Every moment they thought was genuine is now under investigation. Were you laughing with them or at them? When you agreed, did you really agree, or were you just managing them? When you shared something personal, was it real or strategic? The paranoia is exquisite because there's no way to verify anything. They can't ask you, because what are you going to say? And even if you answered, how could they trust it? You've already proven you're an expert at showing people what they want to see. So they're trapped, forever questioning, forever doubting, forever replaying every interaction through this new terrifying lens. And the best part? You didn't do anything wrong. You didn't lie. Not really. You just didn't tell the whole truth. You gave them the version of you that allowed you to survive, to function, to maintain peace. You protected yourself by controlling the narrative. That's not deception, that's survival. That's intelligence. But they'll never see it that way because to them this feels like betrayal. They feel fooled. They feel used. They feel like they never knew you at all. And you know what? They're right, they never did. But whose fault is that? Who decided to accept the surface version without ever digging deeper? Who was so satisfied with their assumptions that they never questioned them? Let's dig into the different reactions you're seeing now that the illusion's shattered. Some of them are angry, furious that you lied to them, that you manipulated them, that you played them. They're rewriting history to make themselves the victims of your calculated deception, when the truth is far simpler. You didn't trust them with the real you, and you were right not to. Their anger is just wounded pride, disguised as righteous indignation. They're not mad that you wore a mask. They're mad that they couldn't see through it. They're mad that you were smarter than they gave you credit for. Others are hurt. They thought you were friends, thought you were close, thought you shared something real, and maybe you did, in your own way. But the version of real they needed doesn't match the version you're capable of giving. They wanted complete transparency, complete vulnerability, complete access, but you understood something they didn't. Complete transparency is complete weakness, so you gave them enough to maintain connection without giving them everything. That's not cruelty, that's boundaries. But to them it feels like rejection, because they measure love by how much you expose, not how much you protect. Then there's the third group, and these are the dangerous ones. The ones who are fascinated. The ones who look at that photo and see a challenge instead of a warning. These are the people who now want to know the real you, who are convinced they can break through where others failed, who see your layers as something to conquer rather than something to respect. They don't understand that the real you isn't a prize to be won. It's not a level to be unlocked. It's a fortress you built for very good reasons, and the fact that they want to storm it just proves why those walls were necessary in the first place. But here's where it gets really interesting. Because while they're all spiraling, analyzing, obsessing over who you really are, you're just existing, living, moving forward. The revelation that's consuming them barely registers as a blip in your world because it's not a revelation to you. It's just Tuesday. You've always known who you are. You've always been aware of the performance. The only thing that changed is their awareness, not your reality. And that might be the most disturbing part for them. The fact that this earth-shattering discovery that's rewriting their entire understanding of you is, to you, completely mundane. Think about the power dynamic here. They're scrambling to understand, to make sense of it all, to find solid ground in this new reality. Meanwhile, you're unbothered. Not because you don't care, but because this isn't new information to you. You've lived with this duality every single day. You've navigated the space between who you are and who people need you to be. You've managed the exhaustion of performance, the loneliness of being truly unseen, the constant calculation of what to reveal and what to conceal. This is your normal. Their crisis is your baseline. And that imbalance? That's where your power lives. Because here's what they're slowly realizing as they process that photo. You've been in control this entire time. Every interaction they thought they were leading, you were directing. Every moment they felt they understood you, you were allowing that understanding. Every connection they believed they'd earned, you had granted. You weren't their puppet, they were yours. And the strings were invisible because you made them that way. You gave them the illusion of agency while maintaining complete autonomy. You let them think they knew you while keeping your true self completely protected. That's not weakness, that's mastery. Now they're looking at everyone around them differently too. Because if you could fool them so completely, who else is performing? Who else is wearing a mask they can't detect? That photo didn't just expose you. It exposed the fundamental truth they've been avoiding their entire lives. Nobody is who they seem. Everyone is managing perception. Everyone is curating their image. Everyone is showing carefully selected parts of themselves while hiding others. You just did it better than most. You were just more conscious, more deliberate, more skilled. And now they're paranoid because if they couldn't see through your performance, they can't trust their judgment of anyone. The questions are spiraling now. How long have you been like this? Were you ever the person they thought you were, even for a moment? What triggered the need for such elaborate self-protection? What are you protecting yourself from? What happened to you that made this necessary? And the most disturbing question of all, if you can hide this, what else are you capable of? Because that photo revealed capacity. It showed strength they didn't know you had, coldness they'd never witnessed, depth they'd never fathomed. And if you've been hiding that, what other capacities are lurking beneath the surface? let's talk about the specific elements in that photo that broke their brains. Maybe it was your eyes, the way they looked dead and alive at the same time, present but distant, seeing everything but revealing nothing. Eyes that have witnessed things the character you played could never handle. Eyes that hold secrets they suddenly realize they don't want to know but can't stop thinking about. Your eyes in that photo didn't match the eyes they remembered, and eyes don't lie. You can fake a smile, manufacture warmth in your voice, perform kindness in your actions. But eyes? Eyes tell the truth when you're not actively controlling them. Or maybe it was your posture. The way you carried yourself in that moment. No longer soft, no longer accommodating, no longer taking up less space to make others comfortable. In that photo, you stood like someone who owns every room they enter. Someone who doesn't ask for permission or approval. Someone who's survived things that would break the person they thought you were. Your body language screamed power in a way that directly contradicted every submissive, agreeable, non-threatening signal you'd given them before. And the body doesn't lie either. You can control your words, manage your expressions, but in an unguarded moment, the body reveals what the mind tries to hide. Or maybe it was something less tangible, an energy, an aura, something in that image that felt predatory when you'd always seemed like prey. Something ancient when they thought you were naive. Something battle-tested when they assumed you were sheltered. They can't quite articulate what it is, but they feel it. And that feeling is more unsettling than any concrete detail because feelings bypass logic. You can rationalize away details, but you can't rationalize away that gut-level sense that you're looking at someone completely different from who you thought you knew. And here's where the real torture begins for them. They start wondering if anyone else sees what they're seeing. They show the photo to others. Do you notice anything weird here? Does this look like the person you know? And depending on the responses, they either feel validated or crazy. If others see it too, it confirms the revelation, but intensifies the betrayal. We were all fooled. If others don't see it, they feel insane, like they're the only one perceiving this shift. Both outcomes are torture. Both leave them stuck in uncertainty. Both mean they can never fully trust their perception again. The photo becomes an obsession. They look at it at random times throughout the day. They compare it to other photos, trying to pinpoint exactly what's different. They analyze every pixel, every shadow, every micro-expression. They send it to themselves so they always have access. They zoom in and out, looking for answers that aren't there. Because the answer isn't in the photo. The answer is in the realization that they never asked the right questions in the first place. They accepted the preview and called it the full movie. They skimmed the surface and thought they'd read the whole book. The photo is just proof of their own intellectual laziness. Meanwhile, you're watching this unfold with a mixture of emotions. Part of you might feel exposed, vulnerable in a way you've never been. The mask you wore so carefully has cracked, and that's terrifying. But another part of you? That part is free, because maintaining a character is exhausting. Remembering your lines, staying in role, never breaking character even when you're alone, because what if you forget how to play the part? It's a specific kind of exhausting that only performers understand. And now that they've seen behind the curtain, some of that burden lifts. You don't have to be as careful anymore. They already know something's off. The cat's out of the bag, at least partially. But you're also strategic enough to know this doesn't mean full revelation. One photo showed them there's more to you than they knew. It didn't show them everything. There are still layers they haven't seen, depths they can't fathom, parts of you that remain completely hidden. That photo was like opening the first door in a house with 100 rooms. They've discovered there's more to explore, but they have no idea how vast the property really is. And you're not giving them a map. If they want to discover more, they'll have to earn it, and most of them won't. Most will stop at that first door, overwhelmed by what they've already found. Let's address the elephant in the room. Why did you create this character in the first place? Because nobody performs without reason. Nobody builds elaborate personas for fun. The character you played was constructed out of necessity, born from past wounds, designed to prevent future ones. Maybe you learned early that your authentic self wasn't safe. That being fully, you invited judgment, rejection, punishment. So you created a version that could navigate the world without getting hurt. A version that people could love without ever really knowing you. A version that could be destroyed without destroying the real you. Or maybe you learned that your true nature intimidated people, that your intensity, your intelligence, your complexity made others uncomfortable. People prefer simple narratives, easy to digest personalities, characters they can understand within 5 minutes of meeting. Your full self doesn't fit in that box. Your full self requires time, effort, patience, and most people aren't willing to invest that. So you created a simplified version, a demo account, a trial run, something they could access without earning full privileges. And if they couldn't handle that, they definitely couldn't handle the real thing. Or perhaps you realized early that information is power, and giving people full access to who you are is giving away all your power. The more they know, the more they can hurt you. The more they understand, the more they can manipulate. The more they see, the more ammunition they have. So you controlled the flow of information. You revealed carefully selected pieces while keeping the critical components locked away. You gave them enough to build a relationship on, but never enough to truly control you. That's not paranoia. That's wisdom earned through pain. Whatever the reason, the characters served its purpose. It protected you. It allowed you to function in a world that punishes authenticity. It let you maintain relationships without complete vulnerability. It gave you the appearance of openness while maintaining actual privacy, and it worked perfectly until that photo. Until that single, unguarded moment where the real you flickered to the surface long enough to be captured. Now the question is, what do you do with this exposure? Do you lean into it, let more of the real you emerge? Or do you double down, repair the crack in the mask, go back to playing the role even more carefully? Oh, this is delicious. This is the moment you've been waiting for, isn't it? Not because you're petty, no, because you're human. Because after months, maybe years of being the punchline in their private conversations, the subject of their screenshots, the name they rolled their eyes at, the person they painted as crazy, dramatic, delusional, paranoid, someone just cracked. Someone in that group chat, the one you were never supposed to see, the one where they dissected your every move like vultures over roadkill, just typed the words that will haunt them forever. And if you are serious, if you are truly, completely, no turning back serious about building the kind of interior architecture that no surveillance, no judgment, and no rejection can penetrate, then there is one more thing waiting for you. The complete 5-book bundle, The Joker Doctrine, The Crown of Ash Grim Grit Edition 1, The Quiet Edge Grim Grit Edition 2, Turn Rejection into Respect Grim Grit Edition 3, and The Cold Ledger, How the Broke and Overlooked Build Wealth in Silence Grim Grit Edition V5 manuals. One arsenal. All 5 together at a discounted price for a limited time only. This bundle was not built for everyone. It was built for the person who is done being studied and ready to become the standard. The link is in the description. This offer does not wait, and neither do you. Wait. They were right about everything. And suddenly, the whole foundation they built their lies on, it's crumbling. The narrative they crafted so carefully, the story they told themselves to sleep at night, the version of events where you were the villain and they were the victims, it's collapsing in real time. And you didn't have to say a word. Time did the talking. Truth did the work. Reality became the receipts. And now they're scrambling, panicking, backtracking, because the one thing they never prepared for was this. You being right. You being honest. You being exactly who you said you were while they were exactly who you said they were. So buckle up, because we're about to walk through every single layer of this beautiful, brutal, karmic masterpiece. Let's rewind for a second, shall we? Because this didn't start today. This started the moment you dared to speak up, the moment you questioned the narrative, the moment you refused to play along with their version of reality. Maybe you called out a lie. Maybe you set a boundary. Maybe you just existed in a way that made them uncomfortable, that reflected back the fakeness they were drowning in, that reminded them of everything they weren't brave enough to be. And instead of looking inward, instead of facing their own reflection, they did what cowards do best. They turned you into the problem. They gathered in that group chat like a digital firing squad, fingers flying across keyboards, crafting a version of you that was easier to hate than the truth was to accept. They needed you to be the crazy one, the bitter one, the one who couldn't let things go, because if you weren't, then what did that make them? So they built their echo chamber, brick by brick, lie by lie, screenshot by screenshot. You remember the signs, don't you? The sudden distance, the inside jokes you weren't part of anymore, the way conversations would pause when you entered the room, the passive-aggressive posts that weren't about you but were definitely about you. You felt it in your gut, that sickening knowing that something was happening behind your back, that your name was being dragged through mud you couldn't even see. And when you brought it up, oh, that's when the gaslighting reached Olympic levels. You're being paranoid. You're too sensitive. Why do you always think everything's about you? They made you doubt your own instincts, your own reality, your own sanity. They wanted you to feel insane for noticing what they were doing in plain sight. But here's what they didn't count on. You trusted yourself anyway. You held on to your truth, even when they tried to pry it from your hands. You knew what you knew, saw what you saw, felt what you felt, and you walked away, not because you were weak, but because you were done begging people to see your worth. Now let's talk about that group chat, shall we? That sacred space where they felt safe, where they could be their real selves, where the masks came off and the poison came out. You were the main character in a show you never auditioned for, the topic that united them, the common enemy that made them feel like they had purpose. Every text was a little assassination, every emoji a tiny knife, every "oh my God," right? Another nail in the coffin they were building for your reputation. They screenshot your posts, analyzed your stories, tracked your every move like private investigators with nothing better to do. They turned your healing into their entertainment, your growth into their threat, your peace into their frustration. Because the worst thing you could do to people who hurt you isn't revenge. It's moving on. It's thriving. It's becoming so unbothered by their existence that they cease to exist in your world. And that made them spiral. Because how dare you be okay without them? How dare you smile without their approval? How dare you build a life that didn't include them, or need them, or even acknowledge them? But something was happening that they couldn't control, couldn't manipulate, couldn't spin into their favor. Time was passing. And time, my friend, is the most ruthless truth-teller in existence. See, lies have an expiration date. Fake narratives have a shelf life. Manufactured villains eventually get fact-checked by reality. And one by one, the things you said would happen started happening. The person you warned them about showed their true colors. The situation you predicted unfolded exactly as you said. The patterns you pointed out repeated themselves with mathematical precision. Everything you were called crazy for noticing, dramatic for mentioning, bitter for bringing up, started proving itself true. And they couldn't ignore it anymore. They couldn't gaslight reality. They couldn't screenshot their way out of the truth. The foundation was cracking. The story was breaking. And someone, one brave or guilty or tired soul in that group chat, finally said what everyone was starting to think. Wait, they were right about everything. Can you imagine the silence that followed those words? The collective stomach drop, the frantic scrolling back through old messages, suddenly seeing them in a new light? The realization creeping in like ice water through their veins that maybe, just maybe, they weren't the heroes in this story. That maybe they were the villains. That maybe the person they spent months destroying was the only one telling the truth the whole time. And now they have to sit with that. Now they have to face the fact that they didn't just misunderstand you. They actively worked against you. They weaponized friendship, trust, community to isolate someone who was only guilty of being honest. They chose comfort over truth, groupthink over integrity, belonging over what was right. And the worst part? You knew this would happen. You saw this coming. You tried to tell them, but they weren't ready to hear it then. They had to learn the hard way. They had to get burned by the same fire you warned them about. Let's talk about the ones who are switching sides now, shall we? Because this is where it gets really interesting, really messy, really revealing. Some of them are reaching out, aren't they? Sliding into your messages with carefully worded apologies that somehow still center their feelings. I'm sorry if I hurt you. I was going through a lot. I should have listened. Notice how it's never, I was wrong and you were right. Notice how there's always a buffer, always a softener, always a way to save face. They want forgiveness without accountability. They want reconciliation without reckoning. They want you to welcome them back with open arms and zero questions, like the past months or years of betrayal were just a little misunderstanding, a tiny oopsie, a forgivable lapse in judgment. But you and I both know better. These aren't apologies. These are damage control. These are people who see which way the wind is blowing and want to make sure they land on the right side of history. They don't regret hurting you. They regret being wrong about you. And then there are the others, the ones who won't reach out, who won't apologize, who will take their realization to the afterlife before admitting they messed up. These are the ones doubling down, getting defensive, creating new narratives to explain away the old ones. Well, how were we supposed to know? They never explained it properly. Maybe they were right about that one thing, but the mental gymnastics are Olympic level. They will twist themselves into pretzels, trying to avoid the simple, devastating truth that they were wrong and you were right, that they hurt someone who didn't deserve it, that they were the bullies in a story they thought they were the victims of. Pride is a prison, and they're serving life sentences. They'll watch you thrive from behind the bars of their own ego, unable to break free, unable to admit fault, unable to grow. And honestly, that's not your problem anymore. That's not your burden to carry. That's their karma to sit with, their lesson to learn, their consequence to face. But here's where we need to get real for a second, because this moment, this vindication, this I told you so energy, it's intoxicating, isn't it? It feels good. It feels right. It feels like justice finally showed up to the party. And you're entitled to feel that. You're allowed to bask in this. You earn this moment through every sleepless night, every therapy session, every moment you questioned yourself, every time you almost broke but didn't. This is your victory lap, your crown, your proof that you weren't crazy, weren't dramatic, weren't wrong. You were just early. You saw the truth before they were ready to see it. You spoke reality before they were willing to hear it. And now they know. Now they can't unknow. Now, they have to live with the fact that they sided against truth, against loyalty, against someone who only ever wanted them to see clearly. So yes, feel this, own this. Let this wash over you like the validation you deserved all along. But, and this is important, don't let this moment define you. Don't let their realization become your identity. Don't spend the rest of your life waiting for the next person to admit you were right, the next apology to roll in, the next vindication to arrive. Because here's the secret they don't want you to know. You don't need them to admit anything for it to be true. You don't need their validation for your reality to be real. You don't need their apology for your healing to be complete. The truth existed before they acknowledged it. Your worth existed before they recognized it. Your peace existed before they apologized for disturbing it. You were right then. You're right now. and you'll be right tomorrow, regardless of who admits it, who apologizes for it, who finally sees it. Their acceptance of the truth doesn't make it more true, it just makes them late to a party you've already left. So what do you do now? How do you move forward from this moment of beautiful, brutal vindication? Do you accept those apologies? Do you let them back in? Do you give second chances to people who didn't give you a first chance at fair treatment? That's entirely up to you, and there's no wrong answer. Some bridges are worth rebuilding. Some people genuinely learn, grow, change. Some apologies are real, backed by action, proven by time. But some are just words thrown at you to make the guilt stop screaming in their heads. Some are strategic, calculated, self-serving. Some are, I'm sorry you're thriving without me, and I want back in, disguised as, I'm sorry I hurt you. Your job isn't to figure out which is which for them. Your job is to protect your peace, honor your boundaries, and never again make yourself small to make others comfortable. You know what you tolerate becomes your standard. You know what you allow will continue. You know that teaching people how to treat you starts with not accepting treatment that disrespects you. Let's also talk about the ones still in that group chat. The ones who read that message, wait, they were right about everything, and felt their blood run cold. The ones who know, deep in their souls, that they were part of the problem, that they co-signed the lies, that they participated in the destruction of someone who didn't deserve it. They're sitting with that now. They're feeling that weight. And some of them will change, some of them will learn, some of them will use this as the wake-up call they needed to become better humans. But some of them will just find a new target, a new person to tear down, a new narrative to twist. Because people who build their identity on tearing others down will always need someone to demolish to feel tall. Your absence from their lives won't change them. Only they can change themselves. And that's not your responsibility, not your mission, not your concern anymore. Here's what I want you to understand, really understand, down in your bones. This moment, this vindication, this realization, spreading through their group chat like wildfire. It's not about revenge. It's not about rubbing it in their faces. It's not about making them feel as bad as they made you feel. It's about something much deeper, much more powerful, much more permanent. It's about the universe confirming what you already knew. It's about reality backing up your instincts. It's about truth finally having its day in court after being silenced, dismissed, mocked for far too long. You didn't need to fight to prove yourself right. You just had to survive long enough for the truth to prove itself. You didn't need to scream to be heard. You just needed to stand firm in your knowing and let time do the screaming. You didn't need revenge because living well, living honestly, living authentically became the best revenge without you even trying. And now, you get to make a choice. You get to decide who you become after this. Do you become bitter? Do you become someone who holds on to this vindication like a trophy, showing it off at every opportunity, reminding everyone who was wrong about you? Or do you become better? Do you take this moment, acknowledge it, feel it, and then release it? Do you use this as fuel to keep rising, keep growing, keep becoming someone so aligned with truth that moments like this become expected, not exceptional? The people who hurt you are hoping you become bitter. They're hoping you hold on to the pain, the anger, the resentment, because as long as you're stuck in the past, you're not surging into your future. But you're not giving them that satisfaction. You're taking this vindication, extracting the lesson, honoring the growth, and moving forward lighter, wiser, freer than ever before. Because here's the thing they still don't understand, might never understand. You didn't survive what they put you through just to prove a point. You survived because you're built different. You endured because your foundation is solid, rooted in truth, unshakable even when everything around you was trembling. You stayed true to yourself when it would have been easier to conform, to stay silent, to play along. You chose integrity over belonging, honesty over approval, authenticity over acceptance. And that's rare. That's powerful. That's why you're still standing while their narratives are crumbling. That's why you're thriving while they're scrambling. That's why someone in their group chat had to finally admit what you knew all along. You were right about everything. So let them sit with that. Let them marinate in the realization that they chose the wrong side, believed the wrong story, hurt the wrong person. Let them feel the weight of their choices, the consequences of their actions, the reality of their betrayal. Not because you need them to suffer, but because that's how growth happens. That's how people learn. That's how karma works. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to prove anything. The truth is proving itself, has been proving itself, will continue proving itself, long after this moment passes. Your only job is to keep being you. Keep being honest. Keep being real. Keep being someone who values truth over comfort, integrity over popularity, authenticity over image. Keep being the person who would rather walk alone in truth than run with a crowd in lies. And one day, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but one day, you'll realize something beautiful. You'll realize that this moment, this vindication, this group chat confession, it barely registers anymore. Not because it wasn't significant, but because you've moved so far beyond caring what they think, what they believe, what they finally admit. You'll be so deeply rooted in your own truth, so secure in your own story, so at peace with your own journey, that their opinions, their apologies, their realizations won't even touch you anymore. You'll hear, they were right about everything, and think, I know, I always knew, and I didn't need you to confirm it. That's the final level of freedom. That's the ultimate victory. That's when you know you've truly healed, truly moved on, truly won. Not when they admit you were right, but when their admission doesn't matter anymore because you've built a life so full, so beautiful, so authentic, that their validation is irrelevant. But we're not quite there yet, are we? Right now, you're in the eye of the storm. Right now, the group chat is imploding. Right now, people are choosing sides, rewriting histories, crafting new narratives to explain away the old ones. Right now, your name is being spoken in hushed tones, with regret, with guilt, with fear. And you know what? You're allowed to watch. You're allowed to know. You're allowed to see the chaos unfold from a safe distance. You earned that front row seat through every moment they made you doubt yourself, every time they gaslit you into questioning your reality, every second they spent tearing you down while pretending to care about you. This isn't about being petty. This isn't about schadenfreude. This is about witnessing the natural consequences of dishonesty, the inevitable collapse of false narratives, the guaranteed karma that comes from hurting good people. You didn't cause this. They did. You didn't create this mess. They did. You're just the one who warned them it was coming. And here's what's really eating them alive right now, what's keeping them up at night, what's making them spiral in that group chat even as we speak. It's not just that you were right. It's that you were right, and you walked away anyway. You didn't need to be proven right to leave. You didn't need them to admit the truth to move on. You didn't need vindication to choose yourself. You saw what you saw, knew what you knew, and made the decision to prioritize your peace over their acceptance. You left before the proof came. You walked before the evidence arrived. You chose yourself before the vindication showed up. And that's the part that haunts them. Because it means you didn't need them. It means you were strong enough to trust yourself even when everyone around you was calling you wrong. It means you had the courage to stand alone in your truth, instead of sitting comfortable in their lies. That's power they don't have. That's strength they can't comprehend. That's freedom they're not brave enough to claim. So let's bring this full circle, shall we? Let's land this plane. Someone in their group chat just said, wait, they were right about everything. And in that moment, the entire foundation of their comfortable lies shattered. The story they told themselves, the narrative they built, the version of reality they needed you to be the villain in, it all collapsed. And they're left standing in the rubble, covered in the dust of their own deception, forced to face the truth they spent so long avoiding. You were right. About the person you warned them about the situation you predicted, about the patterns you pointed out, about the lies you exposed, about the toxicity you identified, about everything. You were right, they were wrong, and now they have to live with that. Now they have to face themselves in the mirror and reconcile the person they thought they were with the person they actually became. Now they have to sit with the knowledge that they hurt someone who only ever told them the truth. And you? You get to stand tall, stand firm, stand proud in the knowing that you never compromised your truth for their comfort. You never betrayed yourself to belong to them. You never dimmed your light to make their darkness feel less threatening. You stayed true, stayed honest, stayed real, even when it cost you friendships, community, belonging. You paid the price for integrity, and now you're collecting the dividends. The universe is settling its debts. Karma is balancing the books. Truth is having its day. And you didn't have to force it, fight for it, or fake it. You just had to outlast the lies. You just had to survive long enough for reality to catch up to your honesty. You just had to trust that eventually, always, inevitably, the truth wins. And it did, and you did, and they know it now. Finally, painfully, undeniably, they know it now. You chose yourself before the vindication showed up. And that's the part that haunts them. Because it means you didn't need them. It means you were strong enough to trust yourself even when everyone around you was calling you wrong. It means you had the courage to stand alone in your truth, instead of sitting comfortable in their lies. That's power they don't have. That's strength they can't comprehend. That's freedom they're not brave enough to claim. So let's bring this full circle, shall we? Let's land this plane. Someone in their group chat just said, "Wait, they were right about everything." And in that moment, the entire foundation of their comfortable lies shattered. The story they told themselves, the narrative they built, the version of reality they needed you to be the villain in, it all collapsed. And they're left standing in the rubble, covered in the dust of their own deception, forced to face the truth they spent so long avoiding. You were right. About the person you warned them about the situation you predicted, about the patterns you pointed out, about the lies you exposed, about the toxicity you identified, about everything. You were right, they were wrong, and now they have to live with that. Now they have to face themselves in the mirror and reconcile the person they thought they were with the person they actually became. Now they have to sit with the knowledge that they hurt someone who only ever told them the truth. And you? You get to stand tall, stand firm, stand proud in the knowing that you never compromised your truth for their comfort. You never betrayed yourself to belong to them. You never dimmed your light to make their darkness feel less threatening. You stayed true, stayed honest, stayed real, even when it cost you.